Hey guys, real quick I want to thank each and every one of you who has subscribed to me. I recently hit 50 subscribers and I can't believe that within just 1 year of posting videos, I was able to basically double my subscriber count. It does mean a lot to me, so again, I just want to say thank you. I know it isn't a big number, but it does show me that I'm progressing, and with time, I might be able to achieve some bigger goals. I would love to eventually do a giveaway and give back to you guys who watch me. Maybe once I hit 100 subs, I can do something special for y'all. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Thanks again for everything. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm continuing the process of turning my Animal Crossing villagers from New Horizons into human versions of themselves, and sharing the process of how I made each of their artworks. If you missed last week's video, there will be a link in the iCard above, and I'll also have a playlist on the end screen of this video so you can check out the other characters I made. So next up on the list is Sydney. Sydney is a normal koala villager, and she was actually the first character I met when I went to another island. To me, she seems very quiet and reserved, but is obviously very kind towards everyone. I also see her as a bookworm, since she does talk about reading in books sometimes within the game. The game model of Sydney is pretty basic, with her biggest feature, in my opinion, being her ears. I knew I wanted to somehow incorporate them into the design, so I started off with some sketches. Initially, my first plan was to try and keep her as close to the character model as I could, so when drawing her ears, I turned them into afro puffs, and while I did like the design, it seemed a little too simple and on the nose. I wasn't too sure about what skin tone to give her either, but I did like my original sketch, so I stuck with a darker skin tone. I just needed to find a hairstyle that would suit her better. So I searched for some references. My original thought went to Keke Palmer from a movie called Akeelah and the Bee, but I've actually used this movie before to help me reference one of my other characters from my comic. Another movie that came to mind was Freaky Friday. One of the friends in that movie had a pretty unique hairstyle that I thought might work. But looking at it, it seemed more alternative and not really what I'd picture for Sydney's hair to be like. Eventually I remembered that they made a spin-off of That's So Raven, and I thought maybe the daughter in that show would have some great hairstyles. I ended up finding a clip from the show which eventually had another actress as the focus. Her hair looked perfect for what I wanted for Sydney. I loved the volume, which I thought could represent Sydney's ears, and having the braids on the side gave it a youthful look as well. So I ended up using this for the hair. I decided to give her bangs as well since the character does have them in the game. I'm not sure if the two styles really make sense, but I kept them together anyway. I drew the clothes the same as the one she starts off with. I gave her those colorful slip-on shoes that matched her nose, and also gave her ombre socks that fade from purple to white, just like how her feet do in the game. As for the pose, I sketched her out to be in this more reserved and hunched over position, like she was having her picture taken and was very shy about it. So running with the idea of her being photographed, I thought maybe Harvey, the photographer that's in the game, was maybe the one taking pictures of all my characters as they moved in. So we gave her some advice and poses to try out. Where the idea came from to have her in the final pose was actually from a similarity I noticed. When I looked at the outfit that Sydney had on, it reminded me of something that Trixie Mattel wore on Drag Race. The two dresses basically had the same shape, and even better was that Trixie was meant to be playing a smart type of character, so that fit with Sydney too. In the video, Trixie points to her head at one point, and this little thing actually inspired the new pose. I did use my body chan model to further help me with the pose, and took some reference pictures of myself as needed. And you guys, for once, I actually recorded a little of the sketching process, so let's jump right into that. Here I just draw over my original sketch and try to refine it more with the references I took and with my art model. The foot that is in the air gave me a lot of trouble because of the perspective, so you'll see me struggle with that for a bit. After I get something good, I go into the line art process. There isn't too much to say about this part of the video. I don't do anything really special for my line art, except using a clear ruler to help me get straight lines for the house and floors. I do want to once again mention that I did trace the background. I just ended up taking a picture of Sydney's house within the game, and I just drew on top of that. My focus is more on redesigning the character and not really so much the background, so I didn't feel too bad about tracing it. I should mention that I won't be having any updates like I did with the last one. I didn't have much to say, and really all the information can be explained in the voiceover process. Real quick, I want to thank a fellow artist here on YouTube for giving me his input and opinions on my last video. There were some things I just wanted to test out and wasn't sure if they worked or not, but Richard Draw Stuff gave me some good feedback and solidified the idea that I should just trust my gut when it comes to editing. So thank you, Richard, I do appreciate it. If you guys want to check out his channel, then it'll be in the description below. He does a lot of amazing artworks of pop culture characters like Pokemon and One Piece, and recently put out an Among Us drawing tutorial, so go check it out. So back to the video, we'll jump into the coloring process. This time around I wanted to start with the character like I normally would, and thankfully I had an easier time coloring her in than with fuchsia. About halfway through or so, I did remember that when you have darker skin tones, that it's more apparent that the palm of the hand is a lighter shade, so you'll see me add that in, and luckily I didn't need to adjust the shading color. When it comes to coloring, I use a few layers, one for solid shadows, another one for softer shadows, and a third for highlights. For me, coloring is just about adding and subtracting until it looks right. And I do use a little bit of the cut and grad technique as well. If you would like a more in-depth look on how I color, then go check out Fuchsia's video. Sydney's hair did give me some trouble once it came to coloring. I wasn't 100% sure on how to go about it, so I looked at some examples on Pinterest. After looking for a bit, I found this image that gave me somewhat of an idea on how to shade the hair, so I just went for it. Afterwards, I just shaded the rest of the clothes and shoes. I will point out that once I started shading the dress, I did give the base layer a denim type of texture. Also going back and making some of my black line art a lighter beige color to match the game model. When that was done, it was time to tackle the background. Starting with the furniture in the front, I just worked on each piece little by little. I do tend to bounce around with my coloring, so after working on the table and chair, you'll see me move over to the house, and then eventually I start shading the hedges to have some more texture. Shading the bookshelf was interesting because I needed to make the inside look like it had depth, so I just used my airbrush to make a gradient for that. I thought the way I shaded the pot on the bookshelf and added the shadows of the leaves really made it pop as well. Once I finished with all the background elements, I moved back to the floor panels and start drawing out the separate pieces of wood. This part did take some time and was extremely tedious, but I managed to get through it with the help of some funny videos I was listening to help pass the time. Then I add some basic cast shadows to the objects, which I'll refine later. I do take a bold brush and start making random strokes and shapes to help make a stone texture for the sidewalk. Using the selection tool, I'll reform the shapes to match the perspective and then go back and refine them to look more like stone. This was pretty tedious too, but I basically passed the time watching Animal Crossing Island tours. In the final stretch of coloring, I just add more cast shadows onto the house to help everything look more believable. Sydney's catchphrase is sunshine, and when it came to the speech bubble, I wasn't sure what I wanted her to be saying. But again, running with the idea that she was having her picture taken, I thought maybe something sincere and almost apologetic would work. Last things to do is to sign it and take it into my photo editing software to add the blur effect. And we can call this done. I honestly felt like this artwork came together so quickly, and it makes me wonder if I'm actually getting faster when it comes to making art. If I were to tell myself at the beginning of the year I would be drawing full body artworks back to back, I would have said I was out of my mind. Which, maybe I am, but honestly I'm just having fun with it. Once again, thank you guys so much for 50 subscribers. I hope to have more growth for my channel as we come closer to the new year. Hopefully we can have a little community going where we help each other grow and get better with our art. But until then, I'll just take it one video at a time and we'll see where things go. Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys! Thank you so much for watching. I post new art videos every other Wednesday, so consider subscribing to the channel by clicking my logo on the screen or the subscribe button down below. If you'd like to further support this channel and me, you can buy me a Ko-fi in the link below, and anyone who donates gets a shout out at the end of my videos. Thanks guys!